Welcome to the Wolf Brothers podcast. I'm here with Taiwan Parmesan, Jake Jaderston. What's up, Jake?
How's it going?
My son Henry, we've been watching the Olympics, and they love the wrestling, and so they've been doing wrestling matches on the couch. And Jake always is for Team Taiwan Parmesan. That must be the mascot of Taiwan.
Yeah, Parmesan has nothing to do with Taiwan, but my wife is Italian, so it's kind of combining the two concepts.
Yeah, this just cracks me up. Team USA versus Taiwan Parmesan. Speaking of the Olympics, we've had some incredible, just a gift, the Team USA run. What a gift. We'll get to that. We got to go back a little bit. I was traveling, you were busy, so we missed out on some pretty good podcasting stories here. Let's go back just a little bit to Puerto Rico. Our boy, Anthony Edwards, 26 points in 17 minutes.
Straight domination.
Oh, you and I were both watching that game, just texting Ant with all exclamation points, like back and forth nonstop. This was reminiscent of the days when we used to just text each other Rubio in all caps. Whenever Rubio would have an awesome pass.
It was unbelievable. The step backs he was hitting, the shifty moves he was pulling, and then I knew he was going to go for that windmill because there was a post from like the day before of him and Steph Curry doing like a dunk contest where they just like threw an easy oop for Steph, and then Ant came and did a sick windmill, and Steph was like, same thing.
I love the way the temperature changed in that room because we were going to win that game. But I mean, the heater that he was on, and that he took one bad heat check shot that was, from the logo. Outside of that, though, he was just in the pocket, could not miss. Defensively, it was shark-to-puss, stealing balls, the windmill dunk, all of it. It was electric, and it was amazing. And it was at that point I thought, is Ant going to get the start? But then the different things started to change with Team USA. Competition started ramping up. Fast forward a little bit, we get to the games that really count, right? The games where you lose, you're done. And you can see even Serbia pulled out maybe the greatest game they could have played. They are 1-3 away. That 1-3 with like, I think were they up 2 and with like 54 seconds left, and they missed that wide open 3.
It really took a heroic effort from Team USA to pull it out.
It was.
And honestly, we shot the ball so well. Now, granted, we're like the best shooting team of all time in history, but still, like the silver and gold medal game, Team USA was just on fire. If we weren't shooting like that, we definitely could have lost.
It was. Okay, I'm going to give them their flowers because we need to talk about this game. This was probably one of the greatest basketball games I've ever watched. It actually, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Wolves Denver Game 7. Because we're dead to rights. It's looking like Serbia just outplayed us, outshot us going into the fourth quarter. In the same way.
Were we down 14 in the fourth quarter? I think it was something like that.
And then I think back to that Game 7 against the Nugs. We're down 20 points at one point in the second half before we make just a grindy comeback. And there was another gear that we had. And I knew, I think everybody knew, if this game was going to be 5 quarters, 6 quarters, Team USA had the talent. They were going to win the game. But Serbia outplayed us for 3 quarters, played incredible. I got to give them their flowers. Jokic, man, I will always, like we said at the end of the season pod, my respect for Jokic continues to rise. That guy is not only a class act, but he is a master at fouling people, but making it look like it's totally just incidental. He's so good at using his body. They called him on the one hook, which was much needed, where he turned his right elbow on Embiid, and the refs called it. But outside of that, I don't know. It's one of those things. What do? You can try and take a charge, but he's so freaking strong. If he got anybody outside of Embiid, he would back them down to the basket. This is where Towns was huge against
Even
him in that
Embiid.
series. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's people think that Wolves fans are just like kidding or that it's just all about Gobert's help, which is a big part of it. But Cat is so good at having this like low center of gravity against Jokic and making his life more difficult than any player I've seen for an extended stretch.
Yep. And so shout out to Jokic. He played amazing the whole
Did you
game.
see that shirtless pic of Jokic partying?
No, no, I need to
Oh,
see
it
it.
is
Send it to me.
epic. And then did you see that shirt or that pic of KD going down the water slide with his hands in the air?
Okay, I'm missing all these things. I need to see these
Okay,
things.
the KD one is
The
legendary, and the
water
Jokic one
slide,
is great too. I'll send you those.
send those to me. Um, so that Serbia game, couple other things. I will say it was the beginning of Steph's awakening. There's that great clip of Ant after they won the world or the gold medal. Um, where Ant's like, yeah, Steph just showed up 3 days ago, finally decided to show up. And it's true though, like we were all like, what is wrong with Steph? Like Steph wasn't hitting the shots. He was just kind of struggling to get into rhythm. And then that first quarter, we go down 20 points if Steph doesn't have a Curry flurry and hit like four threes in a row. Um, we're still down. Got to give flowers to Bogdanovich, man. That guy balled out. Like he went hard and he wanted it so bad. I actually felt a little sad for him because he pulled his jersey over his head. He really felt that loss because he played unbelievable. I think he hit
I,
six threes, played hard. There was the one moment when him and LeBron went back and forth. He did
well, I
the
was gonna say
the three to the head, and
there's
then
Russell
LeBron
and
did the too
Wilt,
small.
there's Magic and Bird, and now we have the great Bogdanovich and LeBron James.
Greatest rivalries of all time. Um, yeah, it was pretty awesome. I mean, I have a ton of respect for that Serbia team, but man, in the end, I hate to do this. I hate to do this because I'm a big Jordan's the GOAT guy, but LeBron, Grandpa James was unbelievable.
Look, I've spent my entire like half my life cheering very hard against LeBron James. Not for any real reason, just you have to choose people to cheer against in the NBA.
Yep.
I mean some reasons, but I unashamedly cheered for him these whole Olympics, and
hmm
I've never felt that way towards LeBron. It's a weird feeling, but just him being on our side, it was really fun. And you're
It
like,
it was
oh,
so well, here's what's so iconic about it. The gray and the beard really emphasizes like this guy's 40 years old and he's playing at an elite level. They had that one layup, he went full court coast to coast, like classic LeBron, took two ginormous steps and kind of wrapped it around with his arm and you go, that looks like LeBron at age 28. Like it was amazing what he was able to do. And then he just his intimidation factor with the other team, the way he really actually got to play as a point guard, like even more so than I think he does in some other spaces he's been in. Like he played as a true point guard at times and facilitated, did everything. Um,
he had some incredible passes.
yeah. I mean, my brothers or my boys have been watching the new Space Jam with LeBron, and it's nowhere as good as the original. I'm not even just saying that. Like
Yeah,
it's nowhere
it's
near.
not.
It's not. It's like the original had so many great like adult jokes that it was funny to watch. It's still funny to watch today. This one is clearly made for kids, and it brings in AI, which is just kind of lame. I like aliens are more fun. All to say, um, yeah, LeBron has been a big part of like Pierce's favorite player now is LeBron, which is annoying to me. I'm like, dude,
What?
I know.
Dude, I gotta have a talking
Not
to with
seriously,
Pierce.
he's obsessed with LeBron.
Oh
But
man.
after this Team USA performance, I, like legitimately, do you think there's a chance they run it back with KD, Steph, and LeBron at the next Olympics? Those three.
Not all three. I think
KD's probably the
there's
best shot, right?
I think Katie's the best shot. He's 35. He wants to play till his wheels fall off, he said. And he has a game that'll just kind of age well.
Yep.
But honestly, I'm not ruling out any of them individually. Maybe it's hard to see Steph still going
Yeah.
strong in 4 years, but I mean, if you can shoot like that, who
So
knows?
okay,
So
let's talk each of them individually because they deserve it. Because all of them, that trio is, I think, the end of it's the end of an era for us watching basketball. I mean, this was um the three greatest players of this generation. You know, Kobe was kind of the last of the previous generation, and you kind of saw that happen at the Olympics when, you know, everybody was looking at each other, what's going to happen? They had their Serbia moment, and Kobe took over, and that was kind of the end of an era. This is the end of a new era. These three guys have been competing for championships, winning championships, and going at each other. And this is the first time all three of them joined forces for an Olympic game, if I'm not mistaken.
it's the first time Curry and LeBron have. But here's the
That's what I mean.
thing,
All
Matt.
three is what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm saying even just for Curry and
Yeah.
LeBron, but it's not just that. We might never get anything like this ever again. Here's
Yeah.
why. When again are we going to have three players who were like the best of their generation, just like clear standouts, like over a decade and a half, however long it's been that these three guys have been dominating, that are all from America?
Yeah.
The international game is so good. Like
Yep.
five of the best player, probably consensus players in the NBA are international now.
Yep.
We're probably never going to have something like this again. And to see them all dominate at this old and to
I
still
know.
be like the dudes on the team, like this is something that we have to like appreciate. And for Ant to be a part of that too, oh
Oh,
man,
I know.
that
I
is
mean,
so sick.
we'll get to some. I'm going to talk Ant too because Ant had some moments. But let's hit Curry because Curry, you know, if you're picking Finals MVP, a Game Seven performance like that would probably push you over the edge. And I get why LeBron wasn't LeBron named MVP.
Yeah.
And
Curry
and
was terrible
that's the
until
thing.
the
Like
last two
you have to look at the
games.
full body of work, which is kind of what the case for LeBron is GOAT. Like his peak will never touch Jordan's peak, but like longevity is the argument, right? And that's kind of how he was in the Olympics. He was just solid all the way through, super consistent. His overall top averages were by far and above. He was the most important player for us. But these last two games, man, especially that last game, Curry was unbelievable. And that stretch, I think he did it five in a row, or was it four in a row? And then that the iconic step back,
That
LeBron wide open with 4 seconds
unbelievable
left, calling for the ball. Curry
just throws it
passes it,
over two
Durant back,
guys.
steps back, it falls in. Night night,
Unbelievable.
night night. I've been
Which by the way, I just gotta say as a Wolves fan, Night Night was Torian Prince's before
let's
Curry's, just to give him his
go.
credit.
Shout out Torian Prince. Um, so I've been playing just real side note, I've been playing basketball versus my boys in the driveway like every night. And every time I make a shot, I do night night. And then Pierce hates it.
Nice.
But I just gotta get that smack talk game. I wonder how quick how every kid on the planet's doing the night night right now.
Yeah.
Um so okay, Curry was unbelievable. So happy for him, like he's been such a figure in this, you know, in this generation. He really changed the way people think about basketball because he's the greatest shooter of all time. Um uh,
I think he changed the way that people play basketball more than LeBron
yep,
or KD did.
I agree. Um and then Kevin Durant, who is he the greatest like basketball Olympian ever?
Yes. And
Make the
only
case.
four-time gold medalist. Um, his I don't have his numbers in front of me, but they're unbelievable. I've gotten in some serious Twitter arguments when people will say, "Oh, he's no Melo." Melo's career stats are like 10 points,
Hmm.
on like 57% true shooting, whatever rebounds and assists. And Katie averages like 20 points. I don't know if not including this Olympics, but like 70 something percent true shooting percentage, which he was this time again, just unbelievable efficiency. He's been the best player on multiple gold medal teams. Um, he again has the record for gold medals. He is on has an unbelievable resume. He had some huge games during these Olympics. He just plays so well in the FIBA game.
Yeah. I he's There's two iconic moments. The one was when I don't, if it was it France or was it Serbia where he waves Embiid off and he goes, "I got this," and then he makes that hit classic KD long range to step back play, pull up. It was more of a pull up, not a step back. But which game was that? Was that France?
Serbia, right?
That was Serbia. Yeah, it was towards the end. It was a huge shot. Like we needed the bucket. He made the bucket. Then we had that kind of flurry where we had the that pass that LeBron made to um sorry, that's France. I'm getting the games mixed up. I'm thinking of that pass to Booker for the dunk. It was like a dunk
I,
layup.
it gets muddled in my mind. I'd wake
Yeah.
up at 3 in the morning and then 3:30 in the
Yep.
morning to watch these games.
Oh, they were
So I
so
definitely
it
some, but
definitely like changes the way you watch basketball. Like watching a game at 3 o'clock in the afternoon is weird for me. Whereas I'm like unhinged at like 9 o'clock cheering. I'm like yelling during my daughter's nap, trying not to wake her. But I had so much adrenaline. I don't know how you went back to sleep after those games. They were so intense.
oh, it was hard. Especially, yeah, no, I struggled to fall back asleep.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Who we have to talk about? So shout out KD, shout out Curry, shout out LeBron. Embiid had his moment. Serbia, there was that stretch in the second half. I know it hurts you to say this. I see it in your face.
No, 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 no,
Um,
no. It doesn't hurt me to say it. He really did. He
he was
performed well, and I thought
no, 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 no,
we
no.
should have brought him on.
He
I'm
didn't just perform
he
well. He was awesome in that second half. He had that stretch of like 8 points in a row. We were
but
needed it.
I gave the sigh because he was unplayable against France. So it's not
Yeah,
it's like he did have his moments, and that was huge. He also was really, really bad
yeah.
because he got so out of shape.
No, I
So
agree.
it's a little hard for me when he just didn't take it seriously. Like I just saw Cat get in incredible shape a month after getting his knee surgery, and then to see him be just
Yep,
that's what frustrated me. But no, we don't win against Serbia without him. So no,
yep.
he had some great moments and he really picked it up. He started getting a better feel because they weren't calling his foul baiting, and he did some good things. But he, I just feel like he could have done more.
So, okay, a couple more things, and I want to talk about future, like why this is probably the most lopsided Olympics. Like we're never going to see one this with the U.S. having way more talent than everybody because everybody's going to be really good in 4 years. And I'll explain that in a second. Before we get there, a couple other unsung heroes. Shout out to Steve Kerr, man. I thought he did a good job. I think there's some things, obviously, rotation wise, he had to figure stuff out. It's such a pressure cooker, but he got the job done. The Tatum debacle, I don't know, think we need to spend much time on that. I just think that I blame Tatum's mom more than anything for.
I've okay. Tatum was 0% from three, and there was one person shooting 40% from the field goal, like Derek White.
Yep.
Then Jason Tatum was in the 30s, and then
Yep.
everyone else was guns. He couldn't make a shot,
I
and
know.
he wouldn't shoot. Like
Yep.
I also actually thought like there were certain games where Tatum would be like against Serbia. I thought having some more length would be good, but I can't blame Kerr. Jason Tatum crapped the bed. He couldn't
Yep.
make a shot and
I-
wouldn't shoot.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Um, Also, I feel like Bam Adebayo was good off the bench. AD was awesome most of the time. Struggled against Serbia, but most of the time was awesome. I thought, you know what? I hate to say it.
Booker was really
Booker
good
was
after
good. Gosh
he had
dang
that
it.
one bad game, and I get so frustrated with some of his defensive off ball.
Yeah,
I feel like sometimes people cut him a little slack where I felt like he was not providing much. Where Ant will fall asleep off ball, but he's so athletic that sometimes he makes up for it.
yeah,
But Booker was really, really good. He was so good at like he's always been good off ball. Like the way he generates offense, I've always thought would work well or works well with other stars because of some of his off ball movement. And it felt like he would just find himself. Part of it's because he's playing with LeBron and Steph Curry, but he would find himself just like wide open all the time. But he was really good at just playing that role
yep. Um,
and making shots.
I'm gonna miss this Team USA. This was a fun. Like I'm really like I'm sad the Olympics are over. It was so fun. Um, Looking ahead, check this out. 4 years from now.
Wait. We haven't talked about Ant's overall Olympics.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. Oh well, let me say this about. I had a couple thoughts on Ant. Overall, one of the shifts that happened, I think, I think when Ant came in there, especially during some of the exhibition games, he really like there was a when he got the ball, he knew he could score. And people kind of let him cook. Kerr let him do his thing and let him be Ant. And there was a shift, though, almost like a temperature change when Ant realized that if we're going to win this thing, the role he's going to play is going to look a little different. And it actually, I think a couple times you saw him, um, like there was that one play, which was brutal, where KD passed the ball to Ant with 3 seconds on the shot clock, and Ant kind of panicked where he should have just gone and scored. And I think he would have in those exhibition games, but in this, with the pressure cooker, he passed the ball and the ball got stolen. It was kind of a, you could tell like the KD Ant love fest right there kind of was like, oh, this isn't good. There's a couple other moments like that where I felt like in the pressure cooker, Ant was deferring, which I think that was okay, but they wanted Ant to do Ant things. And I think that's just a little bit of the um, age and experience and trying to like shift your role midway through. Because for a while there, they ran their offense through him for like 2 or 3 games in a row. When he was in, it was him and KD just kind of doing their thing, and it worked, especially against teams like Puerto Rico and Sudan and whoever.
I mean, Ant really, he had one bad game where he
Yep,
didn't play well, but he played great against Brazil,
yep,
the first uh the quarterfinals, and he just didn't play much in the championship game. And part of it was just the roles with LeBron and Steph playing so much. They didn't want another high usage guy like Ant. But yeah, it's hard when you like are trying to balance having a conscience and like
hmm
deferring and then going. And I think that that's just a tough balance to find. But let me just read his overall Olympic stats. This doesn't include exhibition games, which he played really well in, but just his overall Olympic stats. This is per 36 minutes. He averaged 28 points, 1 block, 3 steals, 3 assists, 6 rebounds on 70% true shooting.
Oh yeah,
And he was maybe when he like was guarding the point guards and stuff, he made them have to change their lineups because he could just wreck people's life with his on-ball pressure and was a straight killer overall in these Olympics. I
yep.
think there's some recency bias because his best games came not in the last 2 games. Um, but he was amazing. Like those stats are crazy and he can do some things better. I'm not saying he can't.
No,
There are ways that he
my
can
my
improve.
my criticism was simply, I think it was more about like the shift in his role towards the end. I think there are a couple times where I think he wasn't looking to be the number one option, um, and that he passed it when he should have just gone and scored the bucket. But overall, that was just a shift I think that was happening as the games got kind of intense. Overall, I'm he was awesome, and
Yeah.
he's gonna be the face next time around. I think he's gonna be the guy. He has such a similar game. I saw a post that posted on I think it was on Reddit or maybe it was on Twitter. It showed 3 different players, and he says that it showed their true shooting percentage, their points per game, their couple other stats, and their win shares, all that. And it said name these like 4 players. And this was all the players at age 22. And the most similar were Ant and Kobe, who Ant was actually a better shooter. Kobe had more win shares and a few things, but like overall, like their game had such a similar comparison. Um, it also there's the case to be made just by looking at that Ant is a better 22-year-old than LeBron. Just saying. Clearly beat him in every category. Uh, although Jordan averaged 34 points a game, so he wins. Anyway, side note.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a little hard to compare too because you have to adjust some stats per eras because people are a little more efficient and lead scores score a little more now. But yeah, no, Ant's 22-year-old stats are out of this world, especially in the playoffs.
okay. Here's what I wanted to say. Um, um, so look ahead next. Well, actually, no, I want to do a little throw a scenario at you. Do you think Team USA, the move should be in the future, take the NBA champions? So take this year would be the Boston Celtics. take the NBA champions, throw them in the Olympics, and then throw a couple heaters off the bench, like throw in Ant and this year's KD if they get into trouble. But do you think that would be a better team with chemistry than our Team USA?
So if you would have taken the Boston Celtics and given them Anthony Davis because you can't have Porzingis,
Yeah,
they would have been better this year,
really.
probably. And if you maybe change the bench up, but I think so. Um, but it's never going to work because there's usually going to be more foreigners on the teams that are winning it all. So it has to be a team that's mostly Americans. I
Oh,
could be
true. I didn't even
wrong
think
on
about
that.
that. I didn't even think about that.
I could be wrong on that because like I'm trying to understand why Team USA doesn't dominate more. And some of the reasons are they're not used to the FIBA rules, like that there's
The
different
ball,
types of
even the ball's
physicality,
bouncier.
goaltending. The the spacing's weird because the 3-point line's a little closer. But I think the biggest thing is they have no chemistry. They just
Yep.
come in, their
Yep.
sets and everything looks so wonky. Everybody has like there's like weird things about how aggressive should I be, how much I pass it. So like the NBA finals is much higher level of basketball than the Olympic gold medal game. It's way higher.
Yeah.
Also, a part of that though is like players get out of shape and stuff. Like
Yep.
everybody's in way better shape in the NBA season. So I don't know. It's tough. I don't think we should do that, and I don't think it would work most of the time. But it is an interesting thought experiment.
Yeah. So check this out. In 2024, Wemby, I'll just say Wemby because I don't want to say his name, who, by the way, was awesome and is a child, a monster child. Or see that photo of him trying to block Curry's shot? It looks like a
That
giant
oh man,
giraffe trying to block a little ferret. Um, anyway, so Wemby was awesome. He wanted it bad. He was tearing up, and I'm kind of like, you know what, bro? I love that. So Wembyana, dang it, how do you say it? You say it.
Wembenyama.
Okay, I'm gonna try and say all these French names.
Just
It's
say
gonna go.
Wemby.
I'm gonna try to say them all. It's gonna go really bad. So check out their 2024 squad. They get 2024 number one, number two picks, Zachary Riachachar and Alex Sarr, as well as Tidja Jane Salamoon, Pacom Diade, Nolan Traore. How good was that?
That was A plus.
Yeah. Projected 2025 lottery pick coming too. So you're adding really, really good talent to that team that's already loaded. And you have 4 years of Wemby getting stronger and better. The Canadians, obviously Jamal Murray and Dylan Burks have some soul searching to do. They were in the dark place. And whenever Ant's on the floor, Jamal Murray just kind of becomes, a lost boy. But if they get back to themselves, they'll have Zach Edey, 7'9" solution to their problems. And Andrew Nemhard in his prime is going to be legit. It feels like they're going to
You see my jersey?
no, what is it?
Legacy Wiggins. It's a Wiggins jersey.
Oh yeah,
So you
Wiggins
could
will be
get all.
back.
I don't think he'll play, but you could get old
Yeah,
man Wiggins.
old man Wiggins, dude. That's a move. Um, so I don't know. I just feel like in 4 years it's going to be a bloodbath, and I think the temptation is going to want to be to bring back the old grandpas, but I think we're going to have to go young, and it's going to be Booker, Ant, Towns. Um, I'm just saying Towns because I want him to be there.
He plays for the
Um,
DR usually if he
oh
gets
yeah,
the
you're
chance.
right. Gosh dang it. Um, anyway, maybe Jaden will need his length.
I think Jaden would be a great because you need players who are like used to not being the man. It's like weird to totally adjust and play different than you do your
Yep.
whole career. Jaden's used to that. He would absolutely torture players. You see how much players struggle with certain defenders? Jaden would torture them, and if his shot is consistent with the closer line, I think he'd be great. His corner percentage is always way better than his above the break. So I think he could be a good fit, and he'd have great chemistry with the best player.
Yeah. Hey, one quick thing before we leave the Olympics, or two things. One, we got to talk about Rudy. Rudy had a little bit of a tussle with the French coach. Let me see if I understand it right. Then you correct me, because you're more apprised of the situation. It seems like they benched Rudy for strategic reasons, but then there was a report that Rudy had surgery on his finger, like stitches. And then people were saying, no, he's just saying that to like save his ego. But what was your take on the situation?
So Rudy played like 1 minute, and Rudy said part of that decision is he just, I think the actual like French translation, like he was just on the table, but like kind of translates to just had surgery. And then the France coach said, no, it wasn't, that didn't play into it. It's just for strategic reasons. He said Rudy didn't have surgery on his finger. He called Rudy a liar.
Oh my
And then Rudy
gosh.
posted pictures, which was clearly of a surgery. Like, I don't know what else you think a finger surgery would be. And this is the same coach who was also like complaining about Wemby to the media. I know France did a good job, but this coach really bothered me. I mean, why would you like create such drama for one of your players? It's just so unnecessary. I mean, even if it was for strategic reasons, just let him save face. And even if it was for strategic reasons, that doesn't mean he didn't just get surgery. He did.
Yep.
So I was pretty ticked about that.
Yeah. Um, Rudy, I'm not worried about Rudy. I mean, Rudy is Rudy. He has his limitations, and he's also a major floor raiser for us. I'm excited to see what happens this year. And love the guy. He's one of ours. One other little thing that we need to talk about is a peripheral thing, but the Noah Lyles drama, throwing shade at Ant, which hilarious. And also just a bad move. Like Ant's maybe one of the most beloved, liked guys, and it makes him come across as wholly insecure and like jealous. Jealous. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the situation?
Well, yeah. So Noah Lyles has been like, there's been the whole debate all along when after the World Cup, he was like talking about the NBA, how they call it the NBA champion world champs. He's like, world champions of what? And so there's been that whole debate on our NBA champions, world champions, and some people would argue that they are because all the best players from the entire world come to play in that league, and it's the highest competitive league in the
Hmm.
world. But others would say you don't divide into countries, so it doesn't count, and it doesn't have the word world in it. Um, I was just always kind of put off by that, what he said, because it seemed like he was kind of like trying to demean NBA champions a little bit and kind of raise himself because he is a champion on like these Olympic and world type games.
Hmm.
So I was always kind of put off by it, but people that was kind of debated, but now I think there's no debate. He wasn't willing to go to Anthony Edwards' Adidas event, and he totally threw shade about it. He's like, he's not
Yep.
even been to the NBA finals. Why would I go to that? He's a 22-year-old. And I think it's just kind of laughable. Like he walked it back and said, "Oh, I wasn't throwing shade at Ant." But if you read his whole quotes, he totally was, and it just seems so petty. Ant
Yep.
already has way more following than Noah Lyles. He has more Instagram followers. He gets way more hits for what he does. And Noah Lyles is 27 and he's peaked.
Yep.
Ant's just getting started. He's not close to his prime. So
I'm
I
not gonna
think there
lie.
was
Oh, go ahead.
I think there was a lot of people that were on Noah Lyles' side, and it was like a decent debate. But I think now everyone realized, like, oh, he was full of it, and he is just kind of being petty.
There's only one way to settle this, and that is table tennis. No Lyles
I'm all
versus
about it.
Ant to see who is the GOAT.
I'm
Um,
all about it.
which, by the way, I brought up our conversation to Paul Brandis, whether or not I could score 1 point against the Olympian, um, and he disagreed. But I think, if I frame the question of I get home court advantage and it's 1 point. I watched so much ping pong, which by the way, you want to know what's the greatest Olympic sport of all time? It's
Break
Wheelchair,
dancing.
no,
Be boing.
wheelchair table tennis. Have you seen wheelchair table tennis?
No, I'll check
It's
it out.
hysterical because the way these guys are so good at spin, they'll hit it so short and neither of them can reach the ball. And so you have these like these points that are just two hit points. Serve, super spin, guy can't reach it. It's like a game of chess. They're the shortest rallies. And these two guys, I gotta send you the video. It's hysterical. They're really playing smarter, not harder. Shout out to wheelchair table tennis. Where were we? I got really distracted there. Yeah, I'm with
That's
you.
fine. We're just talking about no Noah.
Team Ant till we die. Noah Lyles, you're fast, but um, Ant's the goat. Um, anything else? We've covered a lot of ground here. Is there anything else you want to hit?
Yeah, one of the things that has come out is the Wolves schedule. Um, and it is the best it has been.
Yeah, we're
I
starting to
can't
get some
remember it being like
attention.
this. Yeah, we have an opening day game. We have a Christmas game, which hasn't happened for
Yeah,
years. Where the NBA Cup was announced, and I like our bracket, and so I'm feeling pretty good. But yeah, we're getting way more, and I'm really curious to see how many national TV games we get this year.
yeah. No, I'm excited about that. The Christmas Day game is going to be awesome. I hope they bring back the Christmas jerseys.
That's a
Um,
dream of mine. Those black ones with those green letters. Oh,
that'd be
those were so
amazing.
pretty. I want one of those so bad. Um, but yeah,
Um,
there's been some people that like on the Timberwolves internets who've been really complaining about us getting more national attention because they kind of prefer to have our local broadcasters, who I agree is better.
mhm.
But and from my point of view, it's obviously a good thing because if you want players to stay here or to want to come here, getting more national attention is obviously a draw to do that.
Yep.
If Ant's not getting all that national attention, then there actually might be a reason for him to look at a bigger market. But if he's getting that in Minnesota, then
Hmm.
he doesn't need to go anywhere. So it is, I think, even though I'd rather watch our broadcasters, Grady and Pete are unmatched, it's definitely worth it.
Most def. Um, we do have uh kind of exciting, but we do have our first mailbag in a while. Have you been checking the email? I have not. We may have more questions,
Yeah,
but I haven't checked. Um, but our first mailbag coming in hot from Kansas. Her name is Julie, and she asked this question: do you think Ant will ever surpass KG as the greatest wolf ever? It's a great question. I think it's a pretty clear, there's a pretty clear way for that to happen. I mean, bring us our first championship. I mean, he's already, KD will always, or KG will always be KG. I mean, he was so beloved. He had that charismatic personality in a different way. They're both great trash talkers, but KG's the GOAT trash talker. Um, KG is, you know, he's iconic and he's one of the greatest defenders of all time. Now, it absolutely has a trajectory, in my opinion. It comes with winning a championship. That's the biggest thing. I don't know, based on his offensive and defensive abilities as a two guard, obviously a very different player than KG, but I think there's a path there. It's a lot of things depend. And also, I even think like I understand why KG left, but if KG stays, that also adds to his greatest Timberwolf of all time. If Ant leaves in similar way that KG left, that also plays into the conversation. So there's a lot of things that'll factor in. But as of right now, KG is the best of all time. Ant is really quickly moving up that list. Um, so I would I don't know, what do you think?
I think that there's two different ways to view this. Like, will he be the best player that has been on the Timberwolves of all time, or like, will he mean the most to the Wolves? I think he will become the most popular Timberwolf of all time, and I think he has a good chance to win a championship with us, which would put him, unrivaled. So in that sense, yeah, I think he's got a really good shot. But I don't, I wouldn't. I think Ant is potential's anything. He can do anything. But if I were betting, I don't know that I would say he'd become a better basketball player and have a better career in that way than Garnett. And
Yeah.
that's not because I think low of Ant. It's because I think higher than almost everybody else of KG. I
Yep.
think he is I think he's the greatest power forward of all time. I think he's better than Tim Duncan.
Ooh, that's a take. That's a
Well,
take. I don't think I agree with you. I
the
think Tim Duncan
okay,
is better.
Garnett was, I would say, he's a better defender. He's a better playmaker. His impact metrics, especially the playoffs, are way better. Um, I Garnett, the things he was best at are the things that are least noticeable. Like, you know how Rudy is underrated because the things he's good at, you don't notice unless you watch every game. Garnett's best attributes are off-ball defense. Unbelievable as a defender. Switchy. He he's so smart. When Ben Taylor did his historical analysis on him at Thinking Basketball, he said he had like the least amount of defensive mistakes of anyone he's ever
Hmm.
studied. Um, Absolute freak. And then his playmaking was so good. And here's a question for you. If Tim Duncan was in the with the Timberwolves during Garnett's era, would he have won any championships? No. If Garnett had played his whole career with the Spurs, how many championships would he have? So he gets all those years with David Robinson, an entire career with Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, um,
I can't
Kawhi
get there.
Leonard.
I can't get there. Here's why.
I
I hear the argument. I hear the argument. Tim Duncan, 6-2 in the playoffs against Kevin Garnett, has the head to head. 27
that means nothing. That's
has
okay. Garnett's teams
27
were terrible. Garnett
27 to
was part of the most
17.
dysfunctional franchise.
27 to
We were doing all
17 in
sorts
the
of
regular season, averaged more points, more
yes, because of
rebounds.
his teammates.
You
Because
got to
of
be
his teammates.
deep defensively, more blocks,
He's not a better defender than Garnett.
field goal
He
percentage
might.
higher, effective field goal percentage higher. Listen, I love Garnett. I just think it's a ridiculous argument. 5 championships. That's five, that is one away from GOAT. I just think I think when you
Okay,
factor
but
in,
you're just like ignoring
I'm
my
saying
point.
I love
Okay,
Kevin Garnett.
no, 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 no.
If you
Listen. Answer
factor,
my question. I
yeah,
asked you a question and then you sidestepped it.
okay,
If he played, he came in the league 3 years earlier, so he would have had more time with David Robinson. But if he played his entire career with David Robinson, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard, all the incredible role players were there, the best coach in the league, the best general manager in the league, the best health staff in the league. If he was there his entire career, how many championships does Garnett have?
4,
Why?
one
Why?
less.
Like he was a there's a lot he's
No,
better at
I
than
hear the
Duncan.
argument. I hear the argument, but it's a what if,
And
very much a what if scenario.
Garnett has one as the greatest adjusted plus minus season ever recorded in history. He had his impact metrics blow Duncan's out of the water in the playoffs
You
and
also
in the
don't
regular
know.
season.
You don't know if Garnett goes to San Antonio. What if he eats a lot of churros, gains a lot of weight, ends up being, you know,
Okay.
slow,
Boris
and
Diaw.
those big old women in San Antonio ends up having. Sorry, Charles Barkley, shout out.
Charles Barkley.
Um,
Yeah, true. Good point. The tacos would
yeah,
have got to him.
I, I
Although the
just,
Minnesota food scene is highly underrated.
yeah, I think the theoretical is a hard game to play because you don't know about the churros.
But he had the most dysfunctional situation
I
of
agree.
any
I
superstar
agree.
ever in Minnesota.
No, I agree.
Absolute madness is you have to account for that.
Um, who is that player? The Joe, what's his last name?
Joe Smith,
Joe Smith debacle. You had Khan. You had
the
uh
big balls dance.
Johnny Flynn over Steph Curry. I mean, we can go back and just like it's very depressing, but um we don't need to do that. So let's just Minnesota, we are turning the tide. We have Tim Conley, who is going to take us to the promised land, is going to get Ant not one, not two, not
Not
three,
three,
not four, not five. How many?
not
What
five.
did LeBron say? 8? I don't
I don't
remember.
know, but he's probably only
Um,
getting like 7 or so if we're
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah,
realistic
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fair. And then if that's the
for
case,
Ant.
he's the greatest Timberwolf of all time. So
Yeah, yeah,
here's
yeah.
my only thing, Jake. When you have these conversations about historical, like who is the greatest power forward, shooting guard, I do think you have to factor in a longevity, which Duncan has the cake. He played longer and at a higher level. You also have to take in,
Garnett, I will say Garnett, it's better because Garnett had a few on and off injuries late in his
Yep.
career, but he like Garnett played more games than Duncan. Garnett's longevity was still awesome. And he was still his last season with us when he was, almost in the grave, he was still like we played so much better when he played.
Yeah. No, he's awesome. Um, did Garnett ever play for Team USA?
Yep. He got a gold.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, that matters. Um, all right, great conversation. Um, I get the argument. I think it's an
Look,
argument.
you are 99.9% of people are with you. I
Yeah.
just uh I think that the biases that we naturally have when we watch basketball and like the things that Garnett was good at are highly underrated. And he
Yep.
had such a terrible situation. I think it's like he's he has an interesting like argument for a much higher ceiling than people give him credit for.
Yeah. Um, great conversation. We'll be back. It's kind of this awkward in between now and the season getting started. Sad news, RIP to JJ McCarthy's rookie season. Torn meniscus, which, they're not going to rush that, being that he's 22. I don't know how old he is, 23. They're going to take their time. Now, Cat came back from meniscus tear in like record time. So there's a possibility we get to see him this year in a Vikings uniform on the field because he looked awesome in that preseason game. 3 touchdowns, come back win against the Raiders. So Andy Dalton, you know what though? Andy Dalton has never had the weapons that we have. And he's never had the quarterback coach that we have.
Never
I'm
had
just trying
Justin Jefferson.
I'm just trying to stay positive here because I was so excited about the JJ McCarthy experience and everybody just raves about his work ethic and just his aura. That's like the word people use now for people.
Oh, by the way, rest in peace. We lost the Aura sponsorship on our jerseys.
Oh,
Now it's Sezzle.
what is Sezzle?
I don't know, but Aura was so sick. I
I
mean, it
agree.
just like the coolest word. Jersey sponsorships are lame, but except for Aura, that was
Aurora
sick.
was sweet. Well, RIP JJ McCarthy. Glad you're still alive, but should he heal up? He didn't die, just in case you're
Maybe it
listening.
word
I'm
that different.
worried that he died. But we have the Vikings, and before we know it, the season will be here. So I'm sure we'll find stuff to talk about between now and then. Jake, any last final words? I give you the floor.
Uh, Ant for president 2024.
Honestly, I'd vote for him. This isn't a political podcast, but I'm not a huge fan of either candidate. Sorry. Even with the Minnesota boy joining the ticket. Um,
Oh, Walls is totally a
I'll say
Timberwolves
this.
homie.
Walls is a
He's a
homie.
Timberwolves homie. So
He's a
like,
homie. He's probably a great hang, and I like that he's kind of a normal dude. But I still can't get behind that.
look, I'm not talking. I don't know much about like I'm not getting into Walls' political stuff, but I don't really, screw having good politicians in office. All I want is an
Timberwolves
inside
fan,
man for the
dude.
Timberwolves. That is far more important
I
than someone
mean,
who can like navigate foreign relations and the
yeah.
economy and, things like that. I want someone who has tweeted Nas Reed and who has thrown shade at Jamal Murray for throwing heat packs.
Listen, we maybe I should just vote for Kamala Mala Ding Dong, but um, we'll see. I probably won't. Shout out to Tim Walls. That's his name, right? Tim Walls.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I should edit that out. Shout out to the heat packs everywhere.
Hold on to your
Because
heat packs.
I know that heat packs don't deserve what happened. They've gotten a bad reputation because of Jamal Murray and shout out to Kevin Garnett. Shout out to Anthony Edwards, Team USA, Chef Curry, Kevin Durantula, LeBron. No, LeJon Brames.
LeJon Brames.
And until next time, Wolf Brothers out.